How do you test and measure the performance of your rockets?
First thing to do is component testing. We test components in our laboratories, and also ground testing, in particular, for the avionics and for the recovery system. We do not do a propulsion test for our COTS motor because it is a COTS motor. However, of course, we will do static fires for our S3 liquid rocket engine when there is a need. And the best thing, of course, is to launch them, so to flight test them. Where do we launch them? Well, that's extremely complicated. In Italy, also with Andrea, we worked a lot to find a suitable launch site in Italy. Long story short, we did not find one which was, which complied to our requirements. So we launched our rocket in Germany, and for that we also have to thank the teams from Aachen and from Munich for their help. Also, the team from Danstar was there doing some ground testing. In Italy, it's kind of a gray zone. There isn't a really good regulation on this. And also handling black powder and explosives it's not a good thing to do in Italy without a permit. How many kilometers of free area do we need for the launch? I think Andrea can answer that. We did.
Yes, we worked a lot to determine this. Of course, it depends on the rocket. But with our actual rocket, with Cavour, we needed about an area with a radius of 1.5 kilometers to be safe. Of course, using the weather data that we collect on the site, we can really restrict this area. We can, I think, varying the heading and inclination of the ramp, we could launch and recover the rocket like 200 meters away. We really don't need this size of a space, but of course, for safety reason, we can't go to a launch site and ask them only for 200 meters. Safety is very important to us. We perform simulations in various scenarios. For example, we also considered the case of the double parachute failure. So the rocket launching and no parachute opening. The danger area was determined considering this.
But yeah, of course, luckily we didn't need the work of that simulation because everything went fine. But yeah, Italy is complicated. We work with the Italian Air Force, with the Italian Army, but the bureaucracy is, it really kills you. It's something really, really difficult for a group of students. And also you need some budget to work with them. The ideal launch place, well, of course, it will be something near the university, but it's basically impossible because in Italy there's always someone around. When we launched in Germany, we were basically in a field, so there were also roads really nearby. And it was a 10-hour, 11-hour drive, so it was really, really tiring. The ideal launch place, of course, Spaceport America, easy answer. That's the best launch place ever. Of course, it has its problems. Temperatures, the desert, it's not really great to work in. It's, basically it's good to work at around, 5 a.m., 6 a.m. Then it gets so hot and it's really difficult to work on the rocket. But that's, easy, the best launch place. I have not yet been to EuRoC in Portugal, so I do not know how is the launch site there. But I think that the one at Spaceport is, I don't think they can beat that. Because, there's a spaceport, there's a vertical launch area, there is so much safety. Everything is done really in a professional way. The launch ramps are perfect and they're already there, so you do not need to move yours. So yeah, but yeah, we're going to look for a better launch place, maybe closer to Italy. I think it will be really difficult, but we are always looking for launch sites.
EuRoC isn't a bad place to launch. They always have, I believe there are 5 launch rails. Almost all of the teams use their launch rails, except the hybrids and liquids. They sometimes use their own launch rails because to fuel them. Probably the worst thing about EuRoC is that you have to carry your rockets like 600 meters from the tent to the launch rail. But I guess that's safety, because you don't want to be a meter away from a rocket that's about to launch.
Yeah. At Spaceport, it was the vertical launch area is divided in two. There is the solid ramp site, which is 2 lines of ramps. I think in total it's around 16 ramps of solid propelled rockets. And then there is a hybrid and liquid launch site, so it's a really different launch site. It's really far away from the solids. And I think there are also more ramps there. And there's also another launch site for double-stage rockets, which are quite rare, but there are some, and it's also another site. And yeah, so it's really big. And you go there with your truck, with your car. So you bring the rocket by car. I think it's maybe 1 kilometer of road, just in the desert from the tents. So yeah, of course, for safety. And then you unload, you load the rocket on the ramp, and then you go away with the car. So yeah, if in Portugal we will have to walk 600 meters, yeah, that's a lot. But yeah, of course, you know, for safety, these things are really important.
Sometimes the Portuguese military gives their vehicles and they drive the teams and rockets around, but it's rare. Most of the teams didn't seem exhausted after the walk. I mean, usually there were like 5-6 people carrying the rocket, because those are the people who need to set up the launch.
Yeah, well, at Spaceport, luckily we had the cars, but there were some pretty heavy rockets. So I don't know if, you know, people, well, there were some rockets which, you know, maybe 10, 15 people needed to help lifting. And then they also had a car, Spaceport, which basically had, I don't know how to call it, but they had like a truck. And on this truck, there were also many shelves. So it was a car where you can load your rocket. You could use your own car, but it was also the car from Spaceport, and it could carry like, I don't know, 10 rockets at once. Basically, that's many levels, many shelves. It was really cool. And then, yeah, 5 people were authorized to go load the rocket into the ramp.
So you weren't the person who loaded the rocket on the ramp?
Yeah, we were the person who loaded the rocket on the ramp. Yes. But we did not. I think at EuRoC is the same. The ignition, you know, the button which you want to press to launch the rocket, we didn't press it. The organizers had all the ignition keys and all the buttons to ignite rockets. We just inserted the our e-matches and our ignitors on the inside the propellants, inside the motor casing, and then we connected them and we went away basically.